currently working with the Social Security Board to bring relief to BVI residents, and a 19-year-old BVI lander was killed in Puerto Rico. These and so much more when we return.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Eco? 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 Everyone is speaking about eco-friendly products. We wanted to take the time to introduce the Eco Island brand. Eco Island is a brand dedicated to providing you with a reliable and cost-effective solution. Eco-friendly products for your restaurant, hotel, bar, office, and home. With takeaway trays, bags, cups, paper straws, cutlery, and cleaners. For more information, follow us at Eco Island 100.
Welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. A pleasant good day to each and every one of our viewers. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Javon Wilson, so thrilled to be joining you once again for another great edition of 284 News. Now, Ron, I am so thrilled to be kicking off today's newscast with a pretty positive story. Today, we are celebrating Little Radiance. Now, it is true indeed, viewers, that persons are now exploring their deepest potentials, and that is no different even for our children here in the British Virgin Islands. Now, you may remember just about last year when we featured Little Radiance. She was about 8 years old. At that time, she won a reading competition at her school. But now, in light of COVID-19, she has launched Tuck-In Tuesdays. And who best to tell us all about it than Little Miss Radiance and her mom? Let's listen in. So Radiance, I mean, as a result of COVID-19, you have now shifted your focus to a brand new project. It's called Tuck-In Tuesdays. Just go ahead and tell our viewers all about it.
Well, the whole idea of this Tuck-In Tuesday thing, I like it when my mom reads to me. So I thought, since my mom reads to me and I like it, I thought other people would like to be read too as well. So I told my mom about my idea and she agreed.
All right, so you began doing this how long ago?
Maybe 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks ago, and you're 9 years old?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So just tell us about the experience so far. How have people been responding to it? Because I know you come on just around 8 o'clock on Tuesdays when children are beginning to prepare for bed. And this is an excellent way for persons to literally tuck in. So tell me about the experience so far.
It's been comfy and cool and nice.
And how have people responded to it?
Well, the feedback that they give me, sometimes they would say I'm reading a little too fast. And whenever I ask questions, they would answer. But the reason I ask questions is because I want to know their answers and their opinions and if they're paying attention.
Good trick. Now, Mom, Miss Leanna Simon, one of the things we've been hearing recently, especially in light of COVID-19, is that we need to really monitor what our kids are doing online, since a lot of that attention has been shifted to social media. As a mom, as a teacher of a brilliant little girl, how have you been managing that situation specifically?
Well, it's been pretty easy for us because Radiance knows my standards, and we talk about the use of social media, the appropriateness for kids. She has her Instagram channel and her YouTube channel, and we discussed all of that before I even allowed her to have those.
Right.
And so she understands the dynamic of safe social media use and what's inappropriate, and if she sees what's inappropriate, what she should do. So because we already always have those talks, and she reads a lot, And sometimes she reads books and she would say, Mommy, I think this is inappropriate. So she knows what that means. Right. So I don't expect her to, indulge in any of that. So there's no fear for me. And two, her social media accounts are all linked to my phone anyways. So I see the comments even before she sees the comments. And with the Talking Tuesday that she's doing, I stream it on my Facebook platform, So we talk about it, and so I'm comfortable with her using them.
Now, Ron, I know here at 284 Media, we really take pride in celebrating
Indeed.
young people who are specifically doing really great things in the community. Again, we can recall speaking to Little Miss Radiance just about a year ago in May of last year when she won the reading competition at her school. I think she read to about 1,200 persons and gained their signatures to win that competition. So for me, it just really speaks to where we're at, this generation, this new generation, and how incredibly smart, how articulate she is from such a tender age. And for me, again, just speaking to the level of genius and how advanced our young people are. But what I really love about this story as well is how her mom is allowing her to use social media as a tool for progressive learning and not necessarily fearing it, because as a result of COVID-19, we now know that a lot of young people are turning to social media, and it might not be for the best reasons, Ron.
Well, you're absolutely right in the sense that a lot of persons, not only young persons, but young and old, they're using social media for all sorts of avenues. But here we see the lovely Miss Radiance doing really awesome things. So we want to wish her congratulations. She's doing an excellent job, and we support her very much here at 284.
All right, viewers, so that is just a little snippet from the exclusive interview that we did with Radiance earlier. You can tune in a bit later on 284 Media for the full interview where her mom talks all things Radiance and reading with Radiance. We're going to head into our newscast for today. Viewers, the government of the Virgin Islands is now in talks with the BVI Social Security Board to finalize an initiative that promises to bring the much-needed relief to its contributors within the territory. The Premier made the announcement just last night within his press briefing with the media. Listen in.
In terms of Social Security, we are also working closely with the BVI Social Security Board, fine-tuning and finalizing an initiative that would adequately help the businesses and citizens who have been contributing their hard-earned dollars. The results of this discussion will be made public very, very shortly.
So big statement coming out from the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew Foy. There are not a lot of details to go around, but certainly seeming in the affirmative that currently government is in conversation with the board to ensure that some level of relief comes to the people of the BVI in light of what's happening with COVID-19. Now, opposition legislator Honorable Mark Vanterpool had initially suggested that the Social Security Board examine ways in which to assist persons who made their contributions. He said, quote, "We don't know how long this thing is going to be affecting us, so it may be time for the Social Security Board itself to start looking at how it can come to the aid of some of its contributors and how they will be able to assist in the specific period of time to try to buttress the wages or whatever may be needed to help during this difficult time." According to Honorable Vanterpool, the board is sitting on a $600 million fund and can come to the aid of persons who are entitled for reimbursements at age 65, again, in light of COVID-related circumstances. Now, in an invited comment, the director of the BVI Social Security Board, Ms. Antoinette Skelton, had previously said that there are currently no provisions within the law to allow for unemployment claims or relief. When questioned on whether government is considering a legislative change, Premier of the Virgin Islands said, quote, "The Social Security Board has the authority to ensure the necessary recommendations to amend the legislation that governs them to accommodate any unforeseen eventuality," end of quote. However, viewers, this was further counteracted by the board's chairman, Mr. Ian Smith, who said that the board would have suggested revisions within the law to make provisions for similar realities, but successive governments seemed a bit reluctant to act on it. Now, these confines, viewers, have seemingly changed or have been revisited, as we're hearing now from the Premier, now pledging that the results of that new discussion with the Social Security Board will be made privy to the public very, very soon. Now, Ron, as we go through this story, we know for sure that we've been hearing a lot of conversations as jobless persons are now forced to pay rent. They're currently begging landlords for some amount of leniency, or some of them are asking landlords to forgive the debt for at least 1 month, but landlords too, their backs are against the wall because even though banks are now offering what we call moratoriums, we see that as a delayed payment. So in all actuality, what happens is, while the landlord may be forgiven the tenant's debt, the bank is not necessarily forgiven the mortgage payment to the bank. So it's just it's a tough situation as we continue to monitor what's happening, but I know persons have been pressing for the Social Security Board as one of the institutions that can step in and offer some amount of assistance to do so in light of what's happening today.
Definitely, Jovan. It's a tough time for all persons around, and what we need to understand, I think all persons concerned need to understand that it's a domino effect, and at the end of the day, we need to consider all options. So definitely a very important story.
Certainly.
Moving right along, Minister of Health and Social Development and the territory's present Deputy Premier, Honorable Carvin Malone, has been given an extension to serve as Deputy Premier of the territory of the Virgin Islands. Malone, who was appointed to the post on December 18, 2019, was projected to complete his tenure on March 17, 2020. Malone is the last of cabinet members to serve in the post, and upon completion of his tenure, Premier Foy was expected to appoint one of the cabinet members to serve permanently as deputy premier. This announcement the announcement of his extension came on May 4th by way of the Virgin Islands Gazette received by our newsroom, which stated, and I quote, "Whereas under Section 52, Number 3 of the Virgin Islands Constitution Order 2007, the Governor, acting in accordance with the advice of the Premier, shall, by instrument under the public seal, appoint one of the ministers as Deputy Premier, and whereas by instrument under the public seal dated the first day of March 2019, the Honorable Carvin Malone was appointed Minister of Government of the Virgin Islands. Now, therefore, by virtue of the said of Section 52, Number 3 of the said Constitution, and all other powers me thereunto, enabling I, Augustus J.U. Jaspert, Governor of the Virgin Islands, acting in accordance with the advice of the Premier, do by this instrument under the public seal appoint you, the Honorable Carvin Malone, to be Deputy Premier of the Virgin Islands for a further period of 1 month, with effect from the first day of May 2020 to the 31st day of May 2020. Now, Jovan, again, this move was done by the Honorable Premier once he took office early on to give ministers, all his cabinet members, as he would put it, an opportunity to serve. A very unconventional move by our Premier, Minister Malone, who has received numerous commendations by residents as he and his ministry has been charting the course of the territory of the Virgin Islands in the fight against COVID-19. He has been commended by many residents for his maneuvering of the pandemic locally. Shortly after taking office, Premier again announced his unconventional move to afford all cabinet members the opportunity to serve as a Deputy Premier for a period of 3 months, to give each an opportunity to gain experience. A decision that was met with mixed emotions, but I think at the end of the day, persons may have understood what Premier Foy was trying to accomplish, and we continue to wish Premier Foy and his government, as well as the Honorable Carvin Malone, the very best as they continue to execute their duties.
I certainly agree, Ron. The Premier is very proud of his unconventional measures, and this is one of the moves we saw them taking up as soon as they took office in February of 2019. So yeah, it's different. Certainly, some persons refer to it as playing musical chairs, but the Premier is very proud of the fact that it allows for capacity building. But equally, Ron, I see this as an opportunity for someone to function effectively in the absence of maybe another minister having to leave, or even, God forbid, falling ill. So for me, it was a good move. Certainly not one we're accustomed to. But like you said, the government of the Virgin Islands is doing as they see fit to take the territory forward. Viewers, is still ahead. A 19-year-old BV Islander woman was shot and killed in Puerto Rico. I mean, just a gruesome story to go through, but we have the details for that and so much more when we return.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, more big news coming out of that press conference last night with the media. With an estimated 1,000 local residents now out of work, and with those numbers, of course, projected to increase significantly, Premier of the Virgin Islands, Andrew Foy, is now in conversation with local banks to negotiate for an extended one-year moratorium period. This announcement, like we said, was made via government's press conference last evening, aimed at addressing the concerns of the media. Let's watch.
As the Minister of Finance and through the Ministry of Finance, we have reached out to the banks asking them to look at COVID-19 moratorium on personal and business loan payments and penalties to ensure that people get proper relief. My government is continuing discussions with them, and we're asking them to go beyond the norm to at least 1 year to help the people. We cannot continue to act in COVID-19, which is something that's not normal, and applying normal procedures to it. So I'm asking the bank and discussing with them to stretch from your normal 3 months and 6 months and move straight into the 1 year, so that the moratorium could more effectively help the people of the Virgin Islands. And that is a fight that your Minister of Finance will continue to do with each bank with the assistance of the Ministry of Finance.
Now, viewers, we've been hearing the word moratoriums a lot recently, but what exactly does it mean? A moratorium is most commonly an official suspension or legal delay of payments for a specified period. So essentially, viewers, it refers to the postponement of the requirement to make a payment, for example, rent or mortgage payments. So what we find is that these moratoriums are often enacted during emergencies or, in some cases, unusual circumstances. In our case, we're seeing that the world is going through a pandemic in order to provide the necessary relief to people who would have lost their usual source of income. Now, viewers, all 6 of the major lending institutions within the British Virgin Islands have said that they will extend loan moratoriums to their customers experiencing hardship as a result of the ongoing pandemic. Now, while these options are now available, there are a few conditions. First of all, it's very important to note that it is not automatic. Now, back in March, via a e-forum hosted by Money Matters BVI, retail manager at CIBC First Caribbean International Bank, Mr. Fabian Devonish, said, quote, "It is not automatic. They can reach out through our internet banking platform and request it, or they can reach out to their individual lenders or myself as the branch manager and advise us that they are interested in taking the payment moratorium." Now, secondly, viewers, contrary to what some might think, it is not a forgivable loan. It is very important, again, to note that the payments will be deferred and not written off. And Ron, I think this is one of the areas where we see some amount of confusion coming forward as persons think it's an opportunity to bypass payments. So while a client may be able to postpone the payment, viewers, it must be cleared once economic activity resumes or within that agreed period, whether it's business reopening or someone simply reacquiring their job and better being able to handle their financial situation. Matter of fact, once you are approved for a moratorium, viewers, you are still required to pay the interest accrued over that period. Via the same e-forum in March, Mr. Devonish also encouraged persons to pay their monthly interest to prevent it from accumulating at the end of that period. Now, viewers, the length of the moratorium period can vary from person to person, or in this case, from identity crisis to identity crisis. But within the BVI, there's usually an offer to waive principal and interest payments for up to 3 months in the first instance, with the option of going up to 6 months. But like we're hearing today, viewers, the Premier is now advocating for a 1-year moratorium. Now, Ron, once again, this is certainly at the top of our conversations within the territory as we near the 3-month period, since some or most persons would have been laid off. Persons are now questioning what's the next step. But here we see the government of the Virgin Islands really rallying and advocating for the banks to do a bit more. Like the Premier said, we cannot apply normal measures in an abnormal era. So here we see, hopefully, we'll be able to see if the banks across the territory can comply, but really rallying for the needs of the people, and that is the government of the Virgin Islands.
And that's a very good point, Jovan. It is to be waited to see if the banks will actually comply with the request. But what we see here is really just the Premier making his plea, obviously not mandating. He's not forcing them. He's not telling them that they have to do it, but he's just simply in his way, coming to the rescue in some way to the people and asking the banks. So we will continue to wait and see what becomes of this. Continuing on, reports received by our newsroom have confirmed the death of a 19-year-old BVI woman in the neighboring U.S. territory of Puerto Rico. On May 10th, Miss Renee Jack was reportedly found with multiple gunshot wounds to her head in an abandoned house in Puerto Rico where she resided. Puerto Rican officials from the Homicide Division of the Caguas Criminal Investigations Corps stated that Miss Jack was killed following an incident with her 22-year-old boyfriend and 2 of their friends. Additionally, her boyfriend was also wounded and is presently being treated. Right now, the details surrounding this dreadful incident and surrounding the matters of what sparked the incident, which claimed the life of Jack, are yet unknown. Investigations are ongoing, and more on this story will continue. We'll definitely keep you posted on this very tragic story and unfortunate. Now, still ahead, 6th COVID death in the USVI is son of husband and wife couple who also died. A very tragic story, but we're going to have all these details when we return. You're watching 284 News.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Are you a business owner? Business owners are very busy thinking on ways to grow. Wouldn't you like a vendor that makes life easier? P3 Paper Plastic Products offers 24-hour WhatsApp ordering. So, whether you're on vacation, at a sporting event, or, I don't know, forgot, P3 Paper Plastic Products has got you covered with great prices, better service.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. A very tragic story coming out of the VI Consortium out of St. Croix. A 6th person has died of the coronavirus in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The latest victim, who died on Tuesday, was the son of a husband and wife couple who died of the virus weeks apart. The wife on Monday, April 27th, and the husband, the 5th COVID-19 death, on Saturday, May 9th. The son was on a ventilator at the Juan F. Louis Hospital before passing. The death was confirmed by the VI Department of Health. Now, in a Facebook post, a family friend shared the heartbreaking story of the fallen family. She said, and I quote, "Imagine coming home to St. Croix for the purpose of burying your mother mother due to COVID-19 and losing your father and brother to the same diagnosis while here, and if that's not enough, you then test positive and you can't console your teenage daughter as she grieves the loss of both her grandparents and uncle. I share this sad and very true local story not to scare you or to exploit anyone, but to broaden the spectrum as to how deadly and non-discriminatory this disease really is. It is here. It's now eliminating families right here and now in our own community. It's vitally important that we understand the importance of sheltering in a place and social distancing in flattening the curve of this thing. Yes, we all want to go back to our lives. Yes, we all want to party. Yes, we all want what was once, but unfortunately right now that's just not our reality. The sixth death comes a week after Governor Albert Bryan's Safer at Home plan, which took effect on May 4th and allows non-essential businesses to reopen. The move increases the risk of community spread to the community, but the plan calls for mandatory face masks when entering business establishments. To that end, Mr. Bryan said that the people are safer now than they were before the plan, pointing to the mandatory wearing of masks, which residents for the most part have been complying with, and the closed geography of the territory, which does not include in-state travel, transit systems, and large buses. Bryan said, and I quote, "We don't have a mass transit system. We don't have a large bus system. We don't have in-state travel, or for factorization is a lot of different. Factorization is a lot different. For the most part, we still have a choked off tourism aspect because we don't have the many people coming into the territory because they can't go to a hotel. According to the latest USVI Department of Health data, 1,242 coronavirus tests have been performed, 69 of which have returned positive, and 1,115 negative. Tough one to swallow, a tough one to write, a tough one to read. Then losing your brother. So that's 3. And then you have now caught the coronavirus. I cannot imagine disease is no respect of persons, and it is no respect of religion or nationality.
Continue to abide by the safety protocols that are enacted throughout the territory. Like she said, it is here. It's a real problem, and it is taking the lives of people right across the borders. Just within the BVI, we have also lost one person to the novel coronavirus. We now have 3 active cases, and luckily we have 3 persons who would have recovered, but easily that number could have been in the 700s, like the Premier said. So viewers, once again, a very frightening but sobering reality for us to reflect on as we decide on our steps going forward and how we conduct and police ourselves going forward as it relates to COVID-19. Ron, my condolences on behalf of Team 284 Media and of course the BVI, as this is considered a sister island. Our condolences truly goes out to the family and friends of the persons who would have lost their lives within the U.S. Virgin Islands as we all continue to forge a way forward. I know it's not an easy balance for any government, and I think that's where some of the challenge comes in trying to determine how do you balance economy against health, but we're getting there and we're feeling our way out. Like the Premier said, there's no playbook, there's no instructions to this, but again, we're doing what we all think is right and necessary for our respective countries and territories. Viewers, that is it for today's news roundup. Once again, tune in later on for our exclusive interview with Little Miss Radiance. If you want some good old, just some good vibes, good stuff, man. She is awesome and just a ray of inspiration. And
radiant she is.
Yes, absolutely. We just love Little Radiance for what she is and who she is, but more importantly, for the shining example that she is. Our viewers, we're going to have to head out now. You can like us for more updates at 284media.com, on Facebook at 284media as well, 284BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. We'll see you again tomorrow as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content, where 284 News is source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.